o'clock a.m. Mr. Kanda, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Flower.
Present.
Commissioner Kanda.
Here.
Commissioner Prince.
Present.
And Attorney Clint Smith.
Present.
Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Amendments to the agenda, gentlemen.
None from me.
Not for me, sir.
The only one I have, planning and zoning, asked to be removed from the agenda today, so she felt like there was no need. So by consent, if that's all right,
Certainly fine.
okay, we will delete planning and zoning.
For now.
Well, for today, absolutely, yeah. Don't believe we have any minutes to approve. I think we're up to date.
Yep.
Commissioner items?
You want to introduce the audience, it says.
Oh, I blew right by that, I'm sorry. Yeah. Audience introductions?
Jackie Bubis for the Sentinel.
Donna Sweary.
Michael Sweary.
Okay, welcome. Glad to have you here. Thank you, Commissioner Kanda. Got lost.
We keep each other honest.
Commissioner items. Mr. Prince, would you like to begin?
I'd love to tell you how busy I was since 2 days ago. Unfortunately, I haven't done anything since the 31st.
Okay. And I don't really have much to report either. Mr. Kanda?
Yeah, not either here, although some neat things did happen from a Custer County Booster Club point of view. We had the first night game in almost 25 years, 20 some odd years, at last Friday, under the lights. The Booster Club rented the lights. We're going to have 2 of those. So that was a ball calling that game. Had a great time, and then I spent the rest of the time shaking hands, kissing babies over the weekend. Had a great 4th of July, or Labor Day weekend. Just kidding, but it was a lot of fun.
How'd the scoreboard work?
We don't have the new one yet.
Oh, I thought the new
It's
one.
no, we just got the lights. We're doing it a step at a time. The scoreboard came in late. It was delivered late.
Okay.
So we'll pick it up from there. I'm ready to hit it today.
Good, good. Attorney items.
The matter that we're hopefully going to have an executive session on tomorrow, I talked to a few people concerning that issue and did a little research and have some suggestions that I'll present to you, but that's all confidential at this point.
Okay. All right. Administrative assistant items.
I don't have anything today.
Okay, any public comment? If not, we'll move on. Our first staff report this morning is landfill. I've not seen,
He's betting he's on at
yeah.
9:30, so we got a little ways to wait.
Can I suggest we move up to Mr. and Mrs. Sweary since they're here?
Yeah, we can. I wondered if Mr. Hyde would like to be
Gary
there.
ought to be here for that.
Sure, those comments.
That's fine.
So we may wait. Would you like to call Human Services and see if she'd like to come down?
Sure.
And then we can go. I wonder where Tim is. Maybe or maybe not. Well, it's already going to drag out, huh, Kelly? Kelly was hoping.
It was a good plan. That was a fun game Friday night.
It was, wasn't it? That was a lot of fun. We had a pretty big crowd, too. I think it was a record crowd from a Rotary point of view since they left. Perfect night for it.
Mm-hmm. It was. There was a lot of bats out after the game. Did you notice that?
Was there?
Because the lights drew the bugs, you
Yeah.
know.
Drew the bats
And
in
they
to
were
get them.
just,
They were having a
they
picnic.
were
Labor Day picnic. Yeah, it held off raining until the end of the game,
Which was good.
yeah, everybody got cleaned up.
Did you ever get that blueprint to print out?
No.
Hey, Jay, while we're waiting.
No.
Jay,
Yes, sir.
I don't think I gave you a copy of this. This is what they're not gonna be negotiating. That's just the rough draft. I gave Tom a copy because he happened to be at the meeting.
Is this for me?
Yeah, and it's just a rough draft. They're gonna come back after they negotiate, cost with the actual contract.
Thanks for sharing.
Share, Clint.
Want me to bring this, set it up here?
No, just, you can bring a handful.
I have a handful.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was afraid
But
of.
that's not sharing.
I know.
I bought a big bag yesterday, so we have plenty.
Oh, good.
You did?
I was at Sam's.
Were you? How do you get that to forward? Did it?
I just
You
did
got the
that.
magic touch.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know.
He's coming down.
Yes, Laura's coming, so. You wanted just the quote, right?
Hide. Page what?
No, no, go ahead.
No, no.
No, after you.
Yeah, no, still after you, no, after you, Dave. Hi.
Good to see you.
Good morning, ma'am. How are
Good
you?
morning. Good morning. I'm gonna have to move this back, maybe. How is everybody today?
How about you?
Nice day off.
I had a busy weekend. I'm at my house and now I'm like, okay, I need to take a day off. We got our new, we have a new, kind of program for our daycare system. They brought that up over the weekend. So I haven't even been in there because I know it's just gonna be disaster. And then this weekend, they're bringing up phase one on the new modernization of our CBMS where we do all of our eligibility. So it's just like, bring all that stuff up right together and just have it be a big mess. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to this. And Rhonda's got training all next week. Kayla's got training all next week. So yeah, it's just gonna be another fun-filled month. But anyhow.
If it was easy, anybody
Could do it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I have the report. I have the first one here. Everything is we're doing okay. I've been a little concerned, but it's working out because I have so many people going to training. Ron's got to do a week training in Alamosa, pay the motel room. Got Kayla doing training. I have to pay the motels for that.
Where does she go?
She's going to Crowley County
No?
for a couple days, I think 3 days. And so, but so far we're doing okay because I thought I probably didn't budget enough in admin for all of these trainings, but I didn't know that one in Alamosa was coming up. But we're still okay. So far so good. So there's no big things on the front page here. Just that big line. We're doing okay. And then OAP. That's just the normal stuff going on.
Can I ask a question about leave?
Yes.
That ended, is that right?
Yes.
I mean, okay, that's why.
And it won't
yeah.
start until November. And that's, Rhonda's going for a week-long training in Alamosa for a week.
Good.
And that won't start until November.
Thank
The
you.
first payment comes out in November.
Good.
We start taking applications, but the first payment won't come out, so. And then, old age pension, and then Medicaid transportation. All of those Medicaid transportations pass through. But as you said, that we don't have anything going on there. CSBG, we didn't do anything in July. We've got some stuff going on in August. They've given us more money, so we're good on that. Energy outreach, we're winding down on that. September is our last month. But I got the thing saying that we've been awarded more money for next year. I don't know how much. I have to go to a training in September, a day training in September, and then hopefully they'll tell us how much we're gonna receive. But I haven't heard on that one either. But we put the grant in and we've been awarded, so good. And we've only got I think we've got $1,400 left that has to be spent by the end of September, so we're okay on that. And then food assistance, as you can see, we're just right in there. Only had one more case than we did in June, so. And then our TFAB, yeah, our product in TFAB has been down. She said she's not getting it, Brianna from. But then she sent me a thing that she had some stuff that we'd received before that she needed to move, so I ordered a bunch more of that. So when we get this new, it's not gonna be different, it's just we're just gonna have more. So let's see what we'll do with that. But that's that, and like I said, I don't have any big, wonderful, outstanding things going
I
on.
had a quick
That's the
one.
Let me just go right ahead.
Looks good, and I know you had the other, I can't remember from last time.
Oh, that's okay.
The CSBG grant is
Mhm.
only 25% gone.
Yes,
And
and then we just,
but,
yeah, we just received the money.
is that right?
Yeah, they didn't give us some money.
So, but you allocated some in June
Uh-huh,
anyway.
yeah, and that is,
But there's been no demand for it,
no, and we use that for emergency services,
so-
rent, utilities,
right?
that type of stuff.
Do you expect more than that?
Yeah, I expect, we see a lot
We're
more.
gonna get another one next year. Is it based on what we spent this year? We don't
well,
spend it, we use it or lose it?
You know, it's interesting because that, there's 4 counties. It says Fremont, Park, and Chaffee. And Park County doesn't spend there's a lot. In fact, she's actually taken over, Judy Gilkerson from UCOG is actually taking over that and was running it for Park County. But anytime there's extra money, she hands it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You get some by default?
Yeah, because she'll always go, I got some extra money, do you want it? And I always say, sure, I'll take the extra money.
Always working out.
Yeah, so she gave me an extra $2,000 just recently.
Can I get my name on that list?
Yes. But yeah, because she says, because she goes, in Park County, they're not doing much with it, so she just floats me the money, because she'll see, that I'm running low, and she'll just, and she'll pull it and give it to
So
me.
you're not worried about it?
I'm not worried about it, no, I'm not. And we see more in the winter time
Yeah.
than we do right now, and so, but yeah, no, well, probably.
Maybe we'll have winter this year.
Maybe we'll, well, even so, we still had some, we still used it last year too.
It's cold.
Yeah, so.
And you're still advertising for positions?
We had an interview last week, we were gonna do another one, and then we couldn't get that set up. Every time we tried to have the interview, we had emergencies come up. We're supposed to do it this week, and then I had somebody else pick up an app, and I told them they got it back to me right away, and I haven't seen it yet, so maybe, because she picked it up like last Thursday, and then we were close, so we'll see if she brings that in. So we'll see what happens there. Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions?
Appreciate you coming in on short
Oh,
notice.
that's okay, I was like, okay.
You didn't
Always ready.
Didn't have to drive down, did you?
No, I don't, no, I didn't have to do that. No,
Thank you,
yeah.
ma'am, appreciate it.
Okay, oh, yes, oh, I just
Don't forget the
want to get
guy
out of
now.
my chair there.
I can reach.
Okay, see you guys later.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh,
Appreciate
you're
it.
welcome.
You look like a potted plant sitting over here, don't
You're all green.
But you got a nice tie on.
Oh, you do have a nice tie on.
Some of you had nice Friday.
We had Mr. Hyde in here,
He's ready to come back.
so we'll,
Well, Rusty's here too.
well, then we
Oh.
better start with Rusty
He's right here.
and the landfill.
Am I up? Am I?
You are up. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Looking bright and cheery as usual.
It's because he's full of beer and cheer from yesterday.
You do not look like a potted plant,
Oh,
so that's good.
good
Did the
news.
Rockies
Yeah.
win?
Yes, they did. They are in first place.
That's right. Good.
How's things?
Okay, I got it except for the wheel on the back of our compactor is coming loose. The bolts on the inside are all working loose. So when Mr. Chris Helpin comes back, hopefully that'll be one of his first projects to help us out with that.
Can you use it?
Last
Yeah,
year
we're
was-
still using it. We just keep tightening them up.
So it's spinning on the backside or something?
Yeah, it's the bolts that hold everything together from the axle.
Mm.
So we'll have to take the wheel off, and then you can get to them a lot easier and put a cheater on and tighten them babies down. Because doing it from underneath, you can't really get them as tight as you need to.
You know, after helping schedule to come back.
Oh no, he's going to physical therapy, so that's good.
It'll be about 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks.
Need a mechanic.
We've only got one mechanic.
Byron. And he's busy, I'm sure. We'll just keep tightening those up until he gets back, then we can get it fixed right.
Okay.
Got financial assurance taken care of and sent off early this year, so that was a good thing. State wants that by October, and we've been doing it by late October and November, so I sent it off a couple weeks ago, so that's good.
Excellent.
That's a good thing. And we are a little ahead as far as revenue compared to last year. I didn't get all of August, I lacked 2 days of August on this report, so. But yeah, we are ahead,
Tracking.
which is good. That just
Oh,
means
yeah.
there's a lot of people there.
All your accounts receivable been accounted for?
Accounts receivable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One Mr. Scott Kemper.
I was just sitting here thinking about
Yeah.
that.
He was in the other day and said he kind of ran a scam on one of your employees.
Oh, yeah.
He expected you to be calling him that very day demanding his check, which he had made out on the dash of his pickup, waiting to hear from you.
Oh.
So if you haven't talked to him,
Oh.
you should.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not
Now
April
we're-
Fool's, but he was pulling
We're
it.
very much on public record, so.
I don't know about this guy, what's
That's
gonna
right.
happen, you know?
So anyway.
It's a day-to-day thing,
Yeah, that's right.
right, Kelly?
That's exactly
Kept
right.
meeting Matt
Good.
that day.
Like going down the wrong
Took
way
it out
on
on you.
one-way streets and stuff?
That was him, not me.
There's a question if I may. If I remember, and I may not remember correctly, but I thought we were gonna have our test wells drilled August, September. Is that still on track for that?
For
or-
the wells?
Yeah. the
Yeah, they
monitor
haven't been
well.
out yet, so I'm hoping here in the next couple of weeks they'll be here.
Good. Good. Do we need to follow
Because
up?
then the engineers can get started on their end of it.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So,
Yeah, they really need to get here and get that going. And they're on their way, it's just what day?
is that a long-term, I mean, is that a multi-day project, a one-day, a week
I'm
project?
sure those 2 wells is gonna be, especially going, 300 feet or
Good
whatever
well.
comes out, they're coming down, it's gonna be a while. They'll be out there.
Good.
We gave them access so they can go in there anytime, and we're close, whatever, they can go in there and do their thing and get it done.
Sure.
Nothing that we need to follow up on.
I don't think so. If I run into a problem, I will let you know though.
Like a plan. Well, you're easy today.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Got one guy on vacation, so I guess I better get back. It's going to be a busy day.
Yeah.
It is. Clean up all the picnic.
Your financial assurance went back to DiNardo and Group, or? Is that when you sent
Financial
that
assurance,
to?
when we get that done, then I send it up to the state. something that they keep track of year after year to make sure that the county has enough money for post-closure.
Time is the landfill open to the public?
8.
I need to come by tomorrow, that was a personal question, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask it on public time, okay?
Good. All right, sir. Well, thank you for coming in.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Good.
Alrighty.
Have a good day out there.
Things are pretty fine, thank you.
See you, Rusty.
Bill? Yeah. See you, Charlie.
Call
See you,
Mr. Camper, would you?
What's that?
Call Mr. Camp.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, I figured you would. Oh, gosh. Road and Bridge. My golly. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Hey, Jerry.
Top of the morning?
Family in for the holiday, or did you go?
Yeah, we had friends in for the holiday, actually.
I want to thank you for making me look really good.
How's that?
Well, as we were, my wife and I were driving on Rosita Road, right where it goes from paved to dirt, there used to be a big hole. So my wife says to me, "Do you think you can mention that, maybe get it fixed?" And I said, "Well, let me look into it, because I don't like to do personal things, because I don't want to see them." The very next day, you're out there fixing it, and she said, "You really took care of it?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." Anything.
Jerry and I've got a
Thank
lot of
you.
that going on.
Yeah, that's right. That's ironic the way that works.
Mr. and Mrs. Swear are here to talk about dust. Shall we do that first? And we can go through your documents? Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Well, do I have the floor?
You do, yes.
Okay,
You can sit
the
down if
dust
you'd like.
abatement, no, I wanna stand.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'd like to stand. No mind. The dust up there is terrible, but.
Up where you need it for the public record.
Okay, for public record, up about 3/4 of the way to Alpine Lodge on the gravel. Now,
County Road.
County Road 140. There's only, it's about 1.5 miles total from the end of the pavement, which is in terrible shape, you guys all know that, to the Alpine Lodge. There are rocks that stick out of that road at least 2 inches here and there from the end of the pavement for the first 1/4 mile. I mean, it's terrible. You guys all know that if you drive it. I don't know if you guys go up there at all, but I know you know it, because whoever did your counter thing up there, I saw that 2 different places. Unfortunately, it was done after the kids were in school, so the traffic was a little less, but it still is terrible up there. I don't think there's been a vehicle on there to fix any part of that road since last year. Am I right about that? Because I've been here.
Well, you might be right about that, but based on the conditions of some of our other roads and our workload, I didn't feel it was necessary. I drove it Saturday night when I went up to Alpine Lodge, and the stretch of road you're talking about that's got cobble sticking up, I drove a car with car tires on it, and it didn't seem to bother my car. It's not that bad. I don't feel
So
like it's...
because we have 2-inch rocks sticking out, it's okay.
I didn't feel like it was terrible, honestly.
I think it's terrible. I drive it every damn day.
I know, but it didn't bother my vehicles. It was a smooth ride. I didn't get a flat over it. I'm just trying to compare it, you know.
Okay, so this sounds to me like this is a waste of my time.
No, it's not. It's
because
okay.
I
Just
know
go
you
ahead.
have to take the next
It's
step.
okay.
That's all I'm saying.
got it,
I'm
Rick.
not putting up with this crap. The way you fix that 140 from the highway up, go to the other side. Rosita Road, you guys did a good job. Whoever did that did a good job. You certainly don't do a good job on 140.
We planned to be there this week, but rain forecast prevented us from being able to do that. And we have put some hot mix on that this summer,
Yeah.
just a few weeks ago. And we plan to put more on it, but
Okay, but the way you do it is the wrong way. You cover up rough spots and make it worse some places. Why don't you guys invest in a drag box or something that'll make the asphalt flat?
Well, there's such things as a lay-down machine, and we could actually put the mat down thicker, but we're gonna be probably doubling to tripling the cost, and we just don't have those kinds of
What
funds to
about
be
a
able to
drag
do that.
box? That's not a big piece of equipment that you're talking about.
We're at basically doing the same thing with boxes on the end of our moldboard.
Okay, how did you do Rosita Road? Because that's done well.
It was the same way, with the same technique and the same machine.
I don't think I can believe that. I think all of you guys ought to drive Rosita Road. You drove it. You know how well they did. They patched it beautifully. You go over on the other side and I can understand why you want everybody driving 30 miles an hour there, because if you drive any faster, you're going to be in the ditch. That thing is rougher than a cob. But let's go back to the dust. What do you guys get for funds from the federal government because of the campground and that the trailhead up there? Because none of that has been spent on that road. None of it.
We've exceeded what was allowed to us from the
On
federal.
that road?
How much?
How
We
much?
hauled all that road base on it last year. That was pretty expensive.
So last year doesn't account for the year before and the year before
And
and the year
honestly-
before and this year.
And honestly, you know, I'm an advocate for trying to help people out by nature, but I didn't see that much dust behind my vehicle when I went up to the
You
restaurant.
probably went up there right after a rain.
No, it hadn't
And then
rained
about
yet.
2 hours later, there's dust flying again.
And it's very little dust in comparison to a lot of these county roads. And honestly,
what?
when I went around a curve to go
This
to
is
the
a
next,
waste of my time. This is a waste
Okay,
of my
let's-
time, guys. Something has to be done. And if I have to take the next step, I will.
Okay. Let me respond to a couple things. Appreciate you guys coming in here. No question about that. Whether you get what you want or not doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we appreciate you taking your time as citizens to come in. Maybe you don't get the results you want. I don't know that. But you do need to understand we don't turn a deaf eye or a deaf ear just because you want to come in here and complain about something. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how the system works. We put our trust in this gentleman to do what he thinks is right to maintain these county roads. Now, believe it or not, I've had people say to me, I don't understand why people move to the country and then complain about country roads.
I lived in the country in Wisconsin. We had paved roads since 1950.
Yeah, and Texas does too. That has nothing to do with Custer County.
You're
Nothing to do
probably
with
right
Custer
about
County.
that,
So
but
that is water over the bridge.
what I'm
for Custer
saying is that
County.
we have 1.5 miles max, and the first quarter of a mile nobody lives on.
Understood?
So why couldn't we put gravel on the whole road and then use magnesium chloride to at least dust abate it?
Let me respond to that one. Okay. I am the point of contact, and I get all kinds of calls from everybody in this county. And I've driven every road, and so the other commissioners here, and they get calls also. So your voice matters. You can be here publicly. The weight on the telephone is just as much. Now, the roads have to be prioritized. The reason we had I asked them to put out the counts because we're making sure that we're hitting the heavily traveled roads first, where most residents live, in order to get that to be able to last more than a week. But you can't go through it, and we're trying to bring all these roads up to the same level. We intend to try to get at least mag chloride on them, and there's some other compounds that they have available. So we're doing that. So don't think that you're wasting your time, and it doesn't help to get frustrated. I understand your concern. I've lived here all my life, and what Tom pointed out is right. People come here because of what we are. Now, that doesn't mean we're perfect, and it doesn't mean that we have the money to do it. We've only got 4,000 voters in this county paying taxes, and some other not full-time people. So Wisconsin had a budget many times bigger, and otherwise those roads wouldn't have been paved.
But that was
So
1950.
that doesn't, well, right. They got more people quicker than we have. The beauty of being here is it's not on the way to anywhere, so it's hard, and we have a growth plan in plan here. So we are spending every dime we have that is raised by taxpayers. I have a gas tax, etc. on the roads. And that's one of the things that we all three took as a commitment when we came on this job. So rest easy, we are, and I'll bet you $1.50. One of the other reasons he lays I had the same thing on Horn Road. You skim that, you fill the potholes, because if you don't do that right the first time and then come back over with a mat, then it won't stay either. And these roads, keep in mind, are on really soft ground around here, and it heaves a lot. You're going to get a lot worse through the winter as it freezes the ground down. You're going to see a lot of extra work that these guys are going to be doing to keep up. So I just want to
So are the 2-inch rocks supposed to be for traction or what?
No, honestly, that is on the schedule to get covered up. It just hadn't got done yet because of our workload. But that is something from Tanglewood down to the chip that I definitely want to do.
And it'll always happen because that's on a curve down there, you know, in a rough area.
Not the first,
just above it.
not the part
Right.
we're talking about, and then the next part is what you're talking about is that curve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
road base
it's been
doesn't
like
last
that
long.
since last fall.
Well, we've got a hell of a workload. I can just put it that way, and I'm not joking about that. We've got a lot to keep up with around here. And the volume of traffic on that road, it's no different than anywhere else in the county. And I've only got so much funds and so much resources to spread throughout the county the entire year. And I've got to be careful where those resources and funds get spent because I have to justify that. And if I can't justify putting it on somebody else's road as well as yours, you know, and it is a lot based on volume of traffic. And your volume is no different than anywhere else.
I don't believe that. With 50 campgrounds and these horse trailers and RVs going thousands of vehicles all the time, I don't believe
It's
it.
not thousands of vehicles. It
It is.
averaged 197 per day.
It is during the high season.
197 per day in the fall.
No,
not
this was
in the summer.
This was over the weekend, over the holiday
I
weekend.
know, but that's,
This
I mean,
is
this-
now
the
after
kids are
school
in
started.
school.
Well, this is, you know, the holiday weekend
I
is
want
going
to
to
say, I
collect
want to
a lot.
ask a couple of questions. First of all, does the commission have access to the public information about how much funds you get from the feds for
Of course we do.
how much is it?
I'd have to look
No,
this
wait a
up,
minute.
honestly.
How much is it?
Well, our budget is, tell
It
you what
shouldn't
the
be the
budget.
budget.
No, I don't-
it's
No,
what
no, it
comes
is,
from the
because
feds.
I'd
it's
just like
broken
an
in
answer.
pieces. We
Pardon?
have the gas tax.
No, I'd like to know how much you get from the government for the 50-unit campground.
I don't know exactly what that dollar amount is. It's pretty minimal, though. It's not very
I'd like
much.
to know how much.
Well,
I have that information.
sure.
I'd like it on the email that hopefully I get with the meeting minutes here.
And the other thing, I wasn't quite, can I say one?
Okay, yes, please.
We're talking about a mile and 1.3 miles. 1.3 miles.
Gary,
That's
tell
all
her how
we're
much
talking
it costs to pave.
The paving itself,
I'm just,
That
I
would be
wanna.
the long term. The short
Now
term
listen,
would
I
be
listen to
estimated.
you, just listen.
I beg your pardon, I was talking too. So it's 1.3 miles, and that's all we're talking about, short run, some kind of dust abatement, long run pavement, and priority.
Okay, tell her the cost.
on the pavement itself, to do a chip seal on that, we're probably looking at nearly $40,000 for the mile and a half. And then as far as the dust abatement, we're going to exceed $10,000 for that mile and a half. But once again, it's not just that stretch. Once the word gets out, we've done it on there, then we're going to open up a can. We're going to be doing it all over the county. We just don't have the funds to do it all for Vermont, you know, all over the place. But, you know, I can't do it for one and not another.
Excuse me, how many campgrounds with 50 units are on these other roads?
It's not
No,
necessarily.
wait.
We're talking about traffic. Traffic is the
No,
bottom
we're
line.
talking about how many other roads have campgrounds with 50 units? How many?
What's your point? If
Exactly.
you're talking
Just
about
answer
volume
it.
of traffic, Copper Gulch
I get that.
exceeds what volume
I
of
think we have to
traffic
go
your
through.
road gets.
Okay, there's no sense
And it's-
arguing. The bottom line is it is traffic count. Doesn't matter whether it's a campground on the end of it or not. You come up and you probably ought to spend some time sitting and watching the dust come off of Rosita Road off of 96 all the way into that development up there and over the top. Lots of people live there.
It's paved
No, it's not.
on
Most-
140
about half of
from
it
the
is.
highway. Okay.
So, but the point is, he's not doing it by people calling. He can't do it that way because he would get nowhere. He'd be in a tailspin. He's doing it by priority, by car count, and by people calling. If we get enough people that have seen enough things that can correlate things, it matters. Like I mentioned to you before, tell us, and you have. And that's why he's and that helps him reprioritize things as well. So
Well,
he's
could
not
I
going to
ask,
sit on deaf ears.
let me ask the board then to prioritize the trailhead and the campground area? Because
It
there's
is.
a lot of traffic.
It is prioritized.
What's the next step to get to the federal government for these campgrounds? If we didn't have those campgrounds and that trailhead up there, I bet your count would be a third or less of what's on there now. And why can't
Maybe
we
so,
go and make a contact with them and say, hey, we have all this traffic up here because it's such a good campground. It is a great campground. People love it. And they use the hell out of it all summer long. And that's what our biggest problem is. And if we're getting money from the federal government and it's just going into the main fund, if I wasn't standing here today, who knows when that thing would have ever gotten.
We're still using funds to maintain that road. That's what paid for a lot of that road base that got hauled last year. And then when we do any grading, when it requires it.
Okay, my point is what can we do with the federal government to get some more money for the campground sites? Is there any way that we can go to the federal government and say, we'll put a counter up there. You pay X amount of dollars for the traffic that just goes into there.
That's a
Right
very
now,
good
it's a big
suggestion.
guess.
And we do it every year. And we do have the counts, historic counts. And yes, they increase on great years like this.
Yeah.
And that's things that we do deal with.
Except there was a counter this year, not last year.
I can contact our local Forest Service representative and see if there are any funds available. I'm pretty certain that, unfortunately, I know what the answer is going to be, but I'd be glad to make that request.
Just like almost other. But
And that's a very good question.
I
The
hope
forest
we can
surrounds
get
us on
something
all
done
our
on
roads,
that
a lot of
because
roads.
It's terrible up there.
They may actually turn over some funds for dust control, but I'll have to ask and find out.
Well, and road repair. I mean, if you're gonna talk to them about dust control, talk to them about road repair, because I'm telling you, if you didn't have that campground and that trailhead up there, the traffic up there would be very minimal, except for, Alpine Lodge. He does a heck of a business up there. He does very well. But he pays taxes too, so.
Well, I can tell you, I put a traffic counter out on Copper Gulch, and I manually counted that traffic. We had 65 vehicles 1 hour, in 1 hour. And if you multiply that by your 8 or 10 hour day, you're looking at exceeding 500 or 600 vehicles a day. So your problem's not unique at all. And Oak Creek Grade's the same way.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think our problem was unique, but I know that there hasn't been 1 cent except for those counters spent on that road this year.
It's got to justify it first in comparison to the rest of the county and what
Okay.
condition
It
the
is
roads are.
prioritized, is what he's trying
I've
to
driven
say.
Rosita Road, and it's not in near the shape that one
That's
is. I've driven parts of Hermit Road, and it's not in the shape that that's in. I've driven some of these roads because I don't want to come in here and complain about a bad road when some of these others are in as bad a shape.
Well, do me this favor. Go out and drive 255 to the county line as soon as you get a chance. And then also go out on 271. Those are the 2 roads that we need to get on top of real quick because they're considered pretty rough. And then you go back and drive yours and let me know what your findings are.
Do you know?
And that is why we're going to be out there before we get to your road, because
know
they
that-
need the attention.
I'm sorry.
And they get a large volume of traffic.
Do you know we're talking about 1.3 miles?
I know what we're talking about.
Okay.
And then we're talking about 6 miles here, 8 miles there, 20 miles here. Before you know it, we're adding up to 325 miles.
And they all have to
county.
be taken care of.
And what I do is I
They all
drive
have
these
to be
roads
taken
and I
care
see the condition they're in, and I know the volume of traffic we're getting on them. I'm always putting this traffic counter out, and then I do a comparison to Schoolfield up to Alpine Lodge. And then I realize these other roads are getting far more traffic, and I need to get on them because of that reason, and they're in far worse shape.
But
So that's why you're not seeing us on your road.
But
And
they're
because of the
pulling
dry
trailers.
conditions we experienced through the summer, it dealt us a big blow where we didn't have moisture to help maintain them. And that first 6 months, we couldn't keep up with twice as many people as what we had and twice as much of equipment. And that's why your road, while you think it's in terrible shape, it's not as bad if you drive some of these others and do a comparison.
Well, we can certainly, you had a great idea. There's no sense keeping beating each other up here. We want to help. That's a fact. That's why we're here. And so we want to do the right thing. And talking with the Forest Service is always a good idea. But don't count on it this year if we get any money. It's a matter of we have to show cause compared to other roads that they also have the trailheads for. So we will be on top of it, and you'll watch this year. Your road's going to be better as the winter starts. He's already said he's got it on the third line in line right now.
There's a difference in a lot of these other roads. There aren't people pulling trailers up there all the time.
There's some that are
That's the
pulling
biggest
tractor trailers with gravel 3,000 or 80,000 pound loads that were beating these roads to a pulp. There's commercial business that we also take care of. So, we consider it all. Believe me, we do.
And Herbert Road is a good example. You get a tremendous amount of traffic. And honestly, before we do something to yours as far as dust control, that one there would be above and beyond.
Yeah, because there isn't enough gravel on the first half of that road to make dust anymore.
Which road are we talking about?
140. There isn't.
Honestly,
The first quarter mile has more rocks in it than it does gravel. I can guarantee you that.
because of the curves, the turns, and
Yeah,
twists and
you're
turns,
talking
and the
curves,
short
I'm talking before that.
What I'm saying is that slows you down. So that's one of the reasons I can exceed 20 miles an hour in between curves beyond Tanglewood. And that's why I didn't see that much dust behind me.
See, here's another thing about you guys. I go to that little service while I have it, sometimes in the summer. And I said I was coming here to talk to you guys. There isn't one of them that actually pays taxes in this county except for their house taxes. They have those houses up there, they're all second vacation houses. What do you do about that?
It's all over the valley. It's not just
Choke
there.
it down, that's what
right.
you do about it. You suffer because we do not have adequate funds to do everything we'd like to
Where
do.
does
same time.
where do the road funds come from? Does any of it come from your real estate taxes?
The issue about dust, is it because it's getting to your home off of that road? Is that what the
No,
concern is?
it's at my home.
Well, how far is your home off the county road?
150 feet, maybe?
I measured, it's 285 feet.
285, okay. Did you go in my driveway or did you go straight from the road?
I went straight from the road. This is as the crow flies. Your house is actually from the edge of the driven surface, the roadway. It's almost a football field off.
That's why it's more important, because it goes that far.
Well,
Excuse me.
Sure.
I would like to just finally say one thing. We were here last year and totally ignored. We came on that we spoke up. Nothing happened. This year, there was a counter since we talked. Otherwise, nothing has been done, and that's all I'm going to say.
I think that's what we agreed to, that we would put a road counter up there,
Yes,
try to
since we were here.
determine the
But
amount of
before that,
traffic.
nothing was done.
Now, let me say something here. Don't mean to insult your intelligence, but I want to tell you something. You are not the only people that live on a county road. You are not the only people that deal with dust. You may think you deal with more dust than everybody else, but I can tell you, you do not. Not on a mile and a half high. He's going to deal with trying to tell you the perception that I'm coming from. If this man thought
Please stop
your
pointing at
road,
me. Please stop
if
pointing
you-
that thing at me.
I'm not pointing at
Yeah,
you.
put your hand down and
If-
don't point at me.
If Mr. Hyde
No pointing,
thinks
please.
that your road,
Excuse me. I do not come here to be pointed at. Excuse me. Pointed at with your finger.
Point
Would you
well
talk to
taken.
me without doing that?
Have a seat,
All
I
right,
will
then
do
put your
that.
hand down and stop pointing.
have a seat. Your point's well made. Have a seat. Now, I'm not chastising you.
Yes, you are.
No.
I'm a psychologist.
Okay.
I know when I'm being chastised. So you can talk to me in a different tone of voice, and you can say what's been done for 2 years, which is nothing.
Okay. We've sat here and listened to any tone of voice you two folks choose to use. Correct or Mr. Hyde. But I didn't do that because I feel you have a right to come in here and speak.
Okay, I've been in construction my whole life. I know about roads. So just remember that. That's all.
And I believe Mr. Hyde knows about roads.
I believe he does.
Okay. All
And
right.
maybe he doesn't have the funds he needs.
I think
But
that's part of the
somewhere there's
problem.
gotta be, from the Forest Service or somebody, that we can get something to fix these roads.
Okay. As the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, I believe we've sat here and allowed you an opportunity and a platform to explain your frustrations. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yes.
Go ahead.
A short-term fix would be for a mile, 1.3 miles, some kind of dust abatement spray, and a long-term paving.
Anything else? All right, thank you, folks.
Okay.
Appreciate you being here.
Please make sure I get a copy of the meeting minutes and how you vote.
They're online, so.
And we'd like to know how much you guys get from the federal government for the,
Your
that,
points have been duly noted and on record.
okay.
We're moving on. Mr. Hyde, what else, sir?
Is that a yes that we'll get that information?
Yes, we've said it 5 times.
Custer County Commissioners, good.
Jackie?
Gary, before we go on, I just want to verify
Let me transfer you to him.
the numbers you just gave him for dust abatement was 17,000, is that, did I write it down right? And probably about 40,000-ish?
It
Are
would be
those right?
between 30 and 40,000 to do a chip seal,
Okay.
paving on.
And then the dust abatement you said,
Gary,
No,
does that
we're not
include a
gonna-
road base down first or not?
That is.
Can't chip seal it without fixing.
Exactly, and it's probably a
You
light
better get
number
a better
too.
car.
Mhm.
but in the $17,000 range for dust abatement and in the $40,000 range for paving.
For the dust-
for chip sealing.
The thing of it is, if you do the dust abatement, it's not just a one-time thing. You gotta continue to do that year. The initial treatment's gonna exceed probably $10,000.
I just
Right
wanted
around
to
10.
And
make
also,
sure that
for
both
your
sides.
record,
number I
Jack,
got.
10 was, okay.
for the court record here, the county record, Gary is taking the high traffic areas, and if you don't fix them more permanently, like the not just road base, but the seal, or even chip seal, or even the mag chloride. That's how you build the base up, and that's how you make those last longer, so that the small volume roads can be fixed just the same way. But it takes time, especially on the budget we have, and that's important to get that point across. We'll look into what the Forest Service does, but I'm not expecting much,
Really, otherwise.
if there is anything to add, given the traffic count up there.
So, back to the hot mix, we had planned on doing more of that this week, but with the forecast, we backed off of that because we were concerned. We were gonna do some of the shoulder on Hermit Road, because we know that there's places where it's coming out into the road where the pavements broke out. And then we had planned on doing the community center down at Wetmore on Thursday, but once again, because of the rain forecast, I think we'll postpone it.
Yeah, whenever you get to that, it's good enough.
Okay, and then, we do have that culvert for Hermit Road in, and we're in the process of putting it together.
So when are you gonna start that? So that can
My initial
coordinate?
plan was the 18th, which is on a Tuesday, but I think that I'm gonna push that back till the 24th to give us a little
2 weeks, you
project.
plan 2
I'm planning 1 week to 2 weeks. That's what I wanna post in the paper as far as the timeline on that.
And that road will be closed for that 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah. And you're not gonna waste any time fixing other potholes on it until you get it open, right?
Exactly, we gotta get that bridge open as quickly as possible. And for that reason, we're putting the culvert together in the yard, and then we're gonna have it transported in a truck over
Pretty light, huh?
there. 15,000 pounds.
Is it?
Yeah, Gary, I'm assuming when we close Hermit Road, that people coming down from the west will either have to go south on Kettle
Yeah, they'll typically go
or
in
north.
Well, in fact, they could go over to Macy and go south there also.
Yeah,
Over to
you can
Schoolfield.
pick it around.
We're not actually gonna close it to do the bridge, but we're gonna have it posted so that it's,
So they know to take a detour.
yes, we're gonna have detour signs up so they'll have the option of taking either.
You know, it might be
Kettle or
useful, it
Macy.
might be, because people don't know the roads that well, is that way 3 miles to West Cliff, this way 6.
Oh, out here on the highway
Sure,
or something
but
along
coming
that
down,
line.
no, even up there,
Coming
where,
from-
coming from his place, where you hit an intersection, and you give them an option, if you're gonna put them on a
Oh,
detour,
I
this
see what
way
you're saying.
is 6 miles to Westcliff if you go north.
Okay.
It's 8 going the other way, and,
We-
you know, help them out expedite, make it user-friendly.
We've got a a company out of Pueblo that's gonna do traffic control for us, so I'll mention that to them.
Have to figure it out.
Well, the question I wanted to ask you when I brought this up was, obviously they can take Macy, I was thinking about coming down. Kettle would be their first option to go south or north.
Mm-hmm.
If they choose to go on down, Macy would be the only other option to go south.
Right.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
My question is this, when those road closures occur, can you be a little extra aware of the condition of the gravel parts of those roads that are gonna be used in that detour?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I
Kettle
did-
going north is gonna get hammered.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bad anyway, if it gets a lot of traffic.
I had planned on that. We're gonna keep abreast of that, and then if we need to go out and put water on it in front of those homes because of the volume of traffic and things like that, I planned on
That's a good
doing that.
idea.
Good, okay.
So that it doesn't break that, sure. Yeah, that's one of our plans.
Okay,
Did you
good,
say a
thank
date
you.
when you're starting that?
We're, probably gonna do it the 24th on Monday. Most likely.
Would there be that would be a Monday, so there would be no way to pull it in, do it sooner if something broke loose, probably not.
I doubt it because we've got.
We're only a week away.
Yeah, it's just we had a Henshaw refresher class that I'd hoped to be able to get rescheduled, and it's on the 17th. Tuesday is the 18th, and I'd hoped to do it on the 18th, but putting this culvert together is quite a process. There's a lot of pieces to it and such, so I hate to push it and then not be able to make the start date. So
Sure.
Do you anticipate working a regular 4-day week on the bridge thing, or are you gonna extend those hours and days, or what's your plan?
I plan to work Friday also, so that we can
Minimize the time that road's closed.
as much as possible. Yeah, I'd like to get in there and get it done as quickly as we can to get it back open. So.
Okay, sir, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Mr. Prince, anything?
No, sir, I appreciate the work you do.
Thank you.
And I was gonna report on it. Rosita, we did that the 25th of June, took that, night.
Lasted pretty well.
Yeah, it's still doing good.
Does that look worthwhile?
I think it's worth looking into. It's a concentrated photo, but I
See
just,
what the cost difference is.
yeah,
And we've got to try it and see if it per mile is cheaper, might be better.
it sure was worth
If it
looking
lasts
into.
longer.
All right, thank you, sir.
Do that.
Gentlemen, with your consent, I'd like to take about a 5-minute break.
Good deal.
We'll stand in recess.
Good job.
Yeah.
I feel their frustration.
Well, I do too.
There's another 1,000 of them out there with the same
Well,
thing.
and
You
that's-
should have heard this one guy raking over the coals
I hear it
and want to
every day.
bribe me. He says, "Did I have to bribe me to get
We gotta go pick up the chairs and tables
For
from
what's
the
it?
Lutheran church for the
We ready?
GOP picnic,
Oh, that's right, that's on 18,
15.
15.
Reconvene the meeting. Thank you.
Not
Our
over
next,
coffee.
Okay.
staff reports, Veteran Service Office. Mr. Tim, welcome. How are you?
Good, and you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Doing well. Good to see you.
Again. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, peachy.
This will be real short for you, hopefully.
Okay, we'll see you later, Tim. Thanks for
Pretty
being
close,
here.
pretty close.
Pretty darn close.
Thanks. All right. How you feeling, my friend? Feeling better. Every week, a little better. I'm up to walking 2.5 miles a day most days, and getting ready to increase that a little bit after this week. So glad to hear it. Reports are good. Blood work's looking trending the right way, and O2 levels, and cardiologist says I'm headed in the right direction. So
Good.
So we're good.
Good, good.
We're good. The combination of the anemia with, it seems like it goes quick some days, so that's still kind of a struggle, but the blood work shows I'm getting better, so good extra. So yep, even did the dishes for my wife twice this week. So we're feeling
Good.
Yeah. State report. You get the state report there. We did a full month, so numbers show it. We're getting back on track. So 67 phone calls, 57 appointments this month. Which is still low for where we're a year ago. I was averaging between 70 to 100 appointments in general, but that'll come a time as we're back on track. And the last thing I got on this is the community outreach, but the community outreach, when you miss a lot of time, you're not getting stuff in the paper, you're not getting stuff out to the public and so forth, and then and it's a momentum thing. So we're working on gearing up that momentum, getting things back going. We're kicking off some things here the next couple months. Anyways, the monthly report, those are always the main two key things. Everything else is on the report is, on the first 2 pages, has to do with forms that are submitted to the VA or state for things. So that's all that is. And then, of course, the expenses found on the back page for the month. And we'll talk about $350, which is for a training conference. Remember last month I was supposed to go to South Dakota. It was highly recommended by numerous people, including my cardiologist, my primary doc, my wife, and a retired surgical nurse that's a good friend of mine here that I wasn't clear for travel. It says just too soon to do that. So we canceled that next available training conferences in all this month, and I've been cleared that I can attend that. So.
And that's in Illinois?
In Illinois, Peoria, Illinois. So, been there, done that. Is it in Peoria? Not a lot going on.
And you've got, that's in your budget, I mean, you have
Yes,
that.
absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, matter of fact, budget's not left over at the end of the year, so, okay. Any questions on the report?
No anomalies, nothing out of the ordinary.
No. One of the things with what I do, it's always interesting. The vast majority of my time I spend working with service-connected disability claims. That's the bulk of what I spend a lot of time on. And the thing about that is such a wide range. If someone comes in and they just want to put in a disability claim for hearing, I had one last week, and they came in 30 minutes, and went back home, got the documents I needed, came back 30 minutes, more second time, we're done. That case is submitted and done. We get into some more complex cases or appeals. I've got a case that we just submitted last week to reopen a certificate for a PTSD claim. We get it reopened, and we started this back about 6 months ago. We probably got about 8 hours of time putting this all together, but it's submitted. So that it can run a big gamut of time needed to do the job right. So, but other than that, it's just a case-by-case basis. Appeals is a whole different thing. As you try, if you have appeal hearings, I've got a couple that should be coming up here in the next 6 months or 4 months or so, trying to speed a few things up. And then the thing that's going to change that whole world is February 2019, the VA is changing the whole appeal process. So I just did an online class just last Thursday by a law firm out of California
the great presentation to help understand how it's changing. And it's changing dramatically. It's really going to be a big change. So we'll see if it's better. That's promising. So next year, when February hits, if they kick off on schedule, the thing that scares me is they've had all these years, they have 400 some thousand appeal cases backlog now in the old system. They're going to open up this new system, but they're going to be running 2 appeal processes now, and they haven't been able to run 1. So that's the scary part. But they assure us that they'll be faster and turn will be much quicker, and they're going to cut this 3 to 5 year waiting period. So we'll see. Time will tell. Okay.
Motion to approve the report.
I move we approve this report. Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
We're moving second to approve the Veteran Service Office's report. For August 2018. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Report has been approved.
Okay, so when you sign it, I have a question and a request. Sure. We get a lot of questions from vets up here, different things. And one of the questions that have come up most often is, where's the best VA hospital to go to from here? Is it in Pueblo? Is it in the Springs? Is there one in Denver? And you know, it would be nice if you could come up with a handout, pamphlet, or it could be in the paper. The kinds of services a vet can get, whatever is available.
Right. The clinics are, Pueblo's got a clinic, Springs got a clinic. Right. There's only 2 hospitals in the state.
Right. So you ought to get those numbers out, get a little pad, get a thing that says, hey, medical services, you know, if you're able to go there, go make appointments.
Yeah, the biggest thing that comes up here is when vets move here from other areas, and they're used to getting in, one day walking, you know.
And that might be a thing you ought to talk about is the kind of, it's not that you're bad mouthing an area, it's the fact is they have traffic might be heavier in Pueblo than it is, go to the Springs all the time, that'd be your suggestion. Whatever, you ought to come up with a recommendation.
The Front Range is one of the, what we call unbalanced ratios in the country. There's just the capacity, what they can handle is not there. So
the new hospital in Denver fully functional now?
It's fully functional. There's a couple of clinics still in the process of transferring over, but most of it's up and running.
I say that. I don't know what their load is, though. It may be bogged down because everybody's jumping into it.
Well, what they did was they added square footage, tremendous square footage, but they didn't add a whole lot.
People?
Well, capacity didn't increase a whole lot because they added, they went from semi-private rooms to private rooms. They made offices bigger. They made departments bigger, and actually they had a couple of departments that are actually smaller with less capacity than the old hospital. Yeah. So that's going to be the thing that's going to
keep your eye on it and make a good recommendation if some poor guy wants to get it right away.
Right. But right away is...
Well, what I have might be a month.
Yeah, and someone that's not in the system, when we enroll them to do the application, it can take up to 2 months roughly just to get approved. And the biggest surprise that that's happened, that not all that's qualified for healthcare.
If they were going to go and jump into an emergency room, you know, they could do that. They just need to know where to go.
But they've got to be in the system.
I know.
They've got to be able to do it. So that's
neither will they in another hospital.
No. So the other issue here, talk about medical that we've been working on and we're going to keep working on is because we have such a large Medicare age veteran population. The VA does a terrible job of it. As a matter of fact, they don't do anything as far as education. When someone's 64, when they turn 65, they don't do any education on Medicare at all. They leave it to Medicare, they get the book, and a lot of vets here have turned down their Part B. And so, so they only have...
Because they don't want to pay the...
Well, they don't want to pay the Part B, and then at the time they turn 65, they may be going to the doctor once a year. Why should I pay $100 bucks? Fast forward 10 years later, now they have a lot of medical stuff going on. And now they don't have the option. And matter of fact, now if they try to go back to the Part B, there's a penalty. So they could, instead of paying $130, $140, whatever it is now, they've been paying $260 a month. So one of the things I mentioned is I've been pushing for, and I mentioned Senator Bennett's office, and John just transferred, taking a job in D.C., but we're going to keep on it, is I'd like to see a 2-year amnesty period for Medicare age veterans. Give them a 2-year period.
Realize what it is.
To get educated and get in, and get a second chance at it. So it's been presented at Senator Bennett's office. I'm going to contact Senator Gardner's office and Congressman Tipton's office and start pushing that. But we just started pushing it in the fall. And so it's being looked into and see if it gains any traction. of thing, so I think it'd be a great opportunity. So one of the things, my background is I did Medicare sales for about 10 years. So I end up spending a lot of time talking to us about Medicare as they come in. So especially this time of year, we're getting ready to kick off open enrollment for Medicare next month. So that'll come up. Okay. So training conference switch, we already talked about that. Next Monday, the Veteran Trust Fund kicks off. The VFW, this will be their 3rd year of administering that grant. And the VSO office has always supported that by being the intake center. It's a win-win situation where it gives vets an opportunity to come in and I get to see them, update the records and so forth. I do the intake, do the base after 2 years, move down to Arizona. So we have a new grant administrator this year. So we normally do applications first, second, third Monday of the month if there's money in the account. And like I said, I may have mentioned before, the VFW gets a lump. They don't get a lump sum, they get approved for amount, but it's released in installments. So as you pay down the installments, then you get another installment. And every time you do that, there's a gap in 2 to 4 weeks waiting for the money. We can't take applications until the money's in the bank. So if you ever hear frustration, well, how come sometimes you get the money, sometimes you don't? It's probably because we're waiting on the installment. Okay. And I mentioned about community outreach. Where I said one of the things I always try to do is get things in the paper, get things out there, so vets are aware. I just had another vet come in. He's probably lived here 15 years. And this is the first time he came in about a week and a half ago. And that's not unusual. So we still have hundreds of vets here that haven't had yet. And so we're going to keep working and pushing for that. And now we're back up and running. We'll keep pushing. Okay. Any questions for me?
Stay healthy.
I think we're good. All right, sir. Thank you. Appreciate
The
it.
air still good in your office?
Yeah.
You're not coughing anymore.
Well, you know, since I went on option at night,
There you go.
they connected to the asthma because it was restricted breathing. So now they found out the anemia, as my O2 levels get better, my coughs got better. So it's
All
good.
right, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Take care, sir.
Next up, public health.
Hopefully you're all ready.
Hope you're all ready. Yeah.
You're a hot mess.
Good morning.
Healthy.
Super, how are you?
Good. Doing fine, thank you.
Alright, so I have kind of a few things. So I just went to the Public Health in the Rockies last week. Very interesting. You know, the state climate of public health is a little different than the climate of Custer County. So we deal with that. But up and ready to go with Sane here in West Cliff, so we can do, and I actually already have done a strangulation case up here. So a strangulation, yeah. So very interesting.
Scary.
Yeah. So the WIC office is, so historically WIC has not been a part of public health in Custer County, even though in most counties across the world it is totally with public health. Anyways, they are being asked to move from their current location, which is the old clinic. So we're gonna have them in public health from now, starting in October. The clinic wants to charge them rent to do that, which is fine, but we're just gonna have the clinic put that into our rent and absorb that because we can afford it. WIC has very little funds, and I just feel like that's a service that we can provide as public health.
Is that one person?
It's one gal that comes in 1 day a month.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like $50. And it's gonna really benefit us because there'll be more little people coming through the WIC program into our clinic, and they can see some of the programs that we have, or, you know, into public health. They can see some of the programs that we have, plus they can see that the clinic sees little people too, so.
And when did you say that starts?
October, yeah, in their October, they're gonna actually come over and see our setup today, and then they'll be ready, they'll come and have stuff set up ready.
1 day a month.
It's typically the fourth Thursday, unless something comes up that they can't do with that, and that happens like 3 months out of the year. So, like, you know, Thanksgiving's for prevention and stuff. So.
Given shingle shots with that, or shingles?
Well, we're not going to be in WIC because WIC is for little tiny people, and shingles is for older people. But we do not. We will, and I keep telling this to everybody. We have a giant list of people who are going to get the new shingle shot as soon as we get it.
It's good. I've been asked that a lot.
Yeah, it's on back order, and of course we're not at the top of the list because of our population
Bummer, dude.
size. Exactly. So we do an inventory every month, and we specifically ask for it every month, and we specifically say you're not
Later.
at the top of our list.
Is that a once in a lifetime shot?
It is a 2-time shot.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then you're set for life.
Because it's probably been 15 years for me. How long is it good for?
Well, that shot is.
You just have one?
So
I had
when they
one about 15
originally
years ago.
started that, they said you'll be set for life.
Yeah.
And now they're like, it's not that
Kind
effective.
of goofed that one.
Yeah, we're gonna give you this other one.
Maybe
too.
they thought I wasn't going to live that long.
So, I'll put out a ton of press releases and stuff when we finally get that, and it'll be well known
Long line.
that we have it. Yeah. So, and the people that are on our list, of course, we'll call them right away and get them in. So. Okay, so then that being said, with the rent situation, because our budgets are due, I'm asking them to give us what it is they expect, and so it's gonna be based on our square footage, which, as you all know, is like 5. So, so I think it'll be very reasonable. I don't expect it to be anything more than what I've already budgeted through EPR. So, also, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but you know where Shonda's office was right there when you come in. They're gonna give us that office. So we're gonna move Rhonda into that office, and where Rhonda is right now, that's gonna be our exam room. So I'll be able to do all my SANE exams in there, we'll do all our immunizations in there, and WIC can be in there. And then we don't ever really have to fight with, have that competition for that space in those other 2 exam rooms, except for when we do our sports physicals, they're gonna let us still use those, and it'll just be part of our rent, so we can make sure. So, I mean, that's 2 days a year, so. Yeah, the clinic's been amazing. Lisa's fantastic. So.
Nice change.
Yes. So Cooking Matters, fiscal agent of Cooking Matters, the Custer County Kids Council is taking over the Cooking Matters program, and so because we're still the fiscal agent now of the Early Childhood Council, Custer County Kids Council, sorry. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I mean, I think we'll still be the fiscal agent of it, but they're going to be taking it over. So all the equipment, all that is going to go to the Kids Council, which I think is great. They have way more staff and time to put into it, and I think it's going to be. So there'll be some more stuff coming down the pike. Probably closer, like around Thanksgiving time, they're going to start rolling out stuff for that more. So here's my thing I would like some feedback from you guys on. Our Way and Win program is floundering. We have like 8 people who come more than once a quarter, and we pay $3,000 a year for it. It just
Where
feels
is
to
it?
me, it's in the clinic, it's in like the entry into public
Oh,
health,
yeah, I have
which
seen.
you can't even really get to except for
Didn't know
during, business hours, which I
People
guess.
would not like to be seen getting weighing
Mhm.
themselves.
Mhm.
Pretty public.
Yeah, and we've looked, Lisa's been great about looking at where we can put it so that it's more visible, and it's just not,
Who do we pay the 3,000 to?
we do. Oh, to the Way and Win, it's that
organization.
company, yeah. Like, marketing lady.
When did we
who
get it?
Is gonna say, oh, it's really worth it, in
Yeah.
2015.
So how's the trend been?
The trend has
a
been
year?
like this.
So they go up to 15 or 50 or 100?
The most we've had is like 34 people
Really?
in the whole county that have done it. And it's like 8 of us do it.
She looked at me because I
He would have been the
Kind of
number.
let the cat out of the bag when you made eye contact.
Well, it's the same
Does it print a sheet?
5 of us.
Does it print a
No,
sheet?
there's just a computer.
It doesn't do
that
anything,
gives
you gotta write it down.
It just gives you the number. You can go online and look
Mm-hmm.
at what your numbers are.
Just wondering if you track a trend on you specifically to help you.
You can, yeah, yeah. So,
Is there a cost? I mean, we have a cost of 3,000. Do the participants have a cost?
no, it doesn't cost the participants anything, and actually, if you lose a certain amount of weight, you get paid.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, theoretically,
Yeah,
it's,
I thought it would pay me that same amount as long as I kept the weight off, and it was only for the first year, then it stopped paying.
yeah,
Bummer.
Yeah, I made,
Right.
made a couple $100 that first year.
Really?
so, yeah, I mean, I don't, what do you think? I mean,
I use it once in a while still, but
that's me too, yeah, and it's right there in my office, and I mean,
10 loads of road base.
yeah.
okay.
That money could be spent better somewhere else. I think.
There was a time when we had Weight Watchers up here, and then they went away.
Because it's a for-profit deal and nobody wants to
I
pay
understand,
for it.
But maybe we could replace Weigh and Win with Weight Watchers if we could coerce them and
Yeah.
suggest they come back.
I mean, it's
Just a thought. I mean,
it's possible. Here's the other thing: both Weight Watchers and Weigh and Win teach antiquated programs as far as like eating. And it's like a ratio of pounds in food. Like it's not.
I'm on a, I mean, from personal note, I've lost 15 pounds on a low carb diet, stay away from the carbs, and the weight just seems to come off. So I don't understand how high carb, low
Right.
fat, I'm just the opposite, you know.
Yeah, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm really struggling now. There's one other like an option that we can do that's a portable scale that only costs $500,
What was that?
and we can opposed to 3,000, you know, and we could take, but then somebody has to take it in all my spare time,
And people have to know where it's at.
and people have to know where it's at, and we have to, you know, we have to advertise it and spend more money for that.
Sir, in your report you said more to come soon. So are you gonna make a recommendation to us whether to forego the program or to continue the program at some point?
I hate to be the person to say this, but I really think it's $3,000 that we could spend more wisely.
On invitations?
I mean, you took $3,000 and 150 people, that's $200 a year just to encourage them to participate. 150 people, not 7.
I mean, that could be immunizations for the WIC kids. I mean, there's a lot
Well, and
of
we
use
could
for
look
that.
at something else, like you say, Weight Watchers, or
Okay.
I don't know,
And
something
weight
I feel
loss
like
is a
we
major
could.
issue, we all know that, and I think public health really needs to take that on as I'm just speaking for myself now, I think it's something that the community should have an opportunity for some kind of program, you know.
Maybe you could
But I would
replace it with like some kind of class or something.
That's
that
what
you
I
had a
was gonna
couple
say,
times a
maybe you
year.
could hire a nutritionist or a consultant to come in and hold a class quarterly or something, and it just seems like Clinton really hit it on the head, it just seems like an awful lot of money for so few people.
Yeah, that's.
That's my thought, I'm not making a decision.
So if I have the support of the board, I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean it's $3,000 is a lot of money,
And somebody's making money off of that.
for
It's
8
not
people
like, yeah.
in Custer County to be consistently using it.
And that's giving the money away. Clint's the only one that got a return on our investment.
Yeah.
That's why
Way
we
to
love,
go.
that's why his
I'm
That'd
not
be nice if we had a-
the budget's gonna be lower because of all the extra money.
Right.
Are you recommending to nix the
I
program?
am.
And do you need that as a motion, or do you want,
I don't think so. I think I just need to know that because there's gonna be some pushback on the regional level. You know, Custer County is the only one's not doing it. Well, Salida just started it, and it's the same deal. It's clear back in the back of their courthouse. I'll be
Is
very.
it $3,000 per, it doesn't matter what the population is, it
Right.
$3,000 per system.
I support your decision.
And some counties have several of them.
Mhm.
Sure,
Larger
that would
counties
be
have
$9,000.
more.
Fremont has like 16 of them. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fremont does?
Yeah. They have one in every school. which fantastic. But they also have somebody who just only does that program as a job, so that's also.
Does it take your heart rate too and that kind of stuff? Or
No, just
really?
weight.
Just
Just
weight?
weight.
Geez, you get
Mhm.
a $10 scale. Charge them 50 cents and we might make money.
Yeah.
I'll let you know, you can cheat on yours, by the way.
Oh, really?
If you stand on the scale and reach behind you and put your hand on that little ledge, it goes. I tried it once.
I know how he got his money.
No, that was after all the money stopped coming in. I was curious.
All right, I want to see what it really is.
Oh dear.
I just thought I'd let you know. See, I wanted to be 140 pounds again.
I would support that as well. Yeah. I don't think the numbers justify money.
Yeah.
Mr. Kenda?
I'm saying that.
You got to go.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing it to us.
What else?
So that's really all I have. Same old, everything else. You know, I mean, really, I say same old, but I feel like we're doing pretty good with our programs, and I see people in the community who are appreciative of, you know, our books and all that kind of stuff that we started doing. So I'm anxious for WEC to come.
How long have you been here now?
A year and 3 months.
We treating you okay? Is there anything you don't have?
So
Other
far?
than a nice clinic of your own?
You know, now that the administration is changing the clinic, I'm perfectly happy there.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Great. You know, if there's ever an issue, you come talk to us. We don't want to lose you.
Nope, I'm good. You're stuck with me.
That's wonderful.
Good. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you all around.
Okay.
Thanks.
We'll move on. Any unfinished business, gentlemen?
I do not have any.
Nor do I. Mr. Kanda?
Why did we have this?
Well, we're gonna move to that in new business.
Oh, wait, I did look at it.
Ready, Grant?
Yeah, so we'll move on to new business then. Our one item under new business today is signing of the contract for the services from S Brand for the Economic Strategic Plan and Implementation, the READY grant. This is not for Economic Development Company, this is for Economic Development for Custer County. The Economic Development Company is helping us with that, but I've had some people say, wait a minute, is this their deal? It's not, it's for the county.
Yeah, I know
Any questions about the contract, gentlemen, that you've seen?
The only question I have, I read the contract, and the only question I have is, who is this lady Cheryl Trent, and how well has she been vetted? Just because I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it may have been done perfectly correctly, I just don't know.
My understanding that the Economic Development Corporation did that vetting and recommended this company to us to do this implementation.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I'm sure you're both aware of, that was funded, the majority of that was funded by a READY grant.
Right.
County kicked in $4,300.
Right. I knew that.
Yeah, $4,500. But I think this is another one of those things where if we don't jump through these hoops, we're gonna be in a weak position
I agree.
to compete for grant dollars for our county. So.
I agree with that. So, that being said, would you like a motion?
I would say.
I move that we approve the strategic planning for 2018.
Thank you. I'll second the motion. Been moved and seconded to authorize or approve the strategic planning consultant agreement, retroactive to August 24. Discussion?
Yep, I got some.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a good thing to have if it's the big picture. I would like to make sure it can be used for the judicial stuff that we were talking about the other day. They needed to know more. It may involve having her change some of the steps in this thing and get the right people in there. I mean, she's interviewing practically nobody here in her part. You know, it's just a couple of meetings. So I think we ought to have her make sure she understands we do have a strategic vision for a couple things, you know, you got growth happening down south in the airport, you've got the judicial center here, you got some things, and we wanna make sure this isn't just, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna talk to a few citizens and then give you guys their views. You see what I'm saying?
I think your point's extremely well taken.
So-
I agree.
So we could, maybe, I don't know how to amend that, Tom, but we need to amend this a little bit.
Okay,
And what's the crunch on here? Is there a crunch, do you know?
well, their calendar, is the last page.
And they're making it retroactive, so.
So the 11th of September, they're scheduled to do their interviews,
Right.
and community survey again. I certainly have resigned myself to understand that when somebody says they're gonna do a survey, if we get 15 or 20 respondents,
Right. That's right, and it's one thing, you post it, that isn't doing anything. We wanna make sure she's, if nothing else, take some of that 20K and go hire some kids, go door to door, whatever it takes, and she's got to meet with these other people that are here. It just won't do any good. Or on the judicial piece, for sure. Make
would
sure
you
she
be
covers
interested in contacting her via an email and sharing her concerns
Sure.
about that?
If we got a number and so that's my suggestion.
No, I think it's an excellent suggestion. I mean, it's, use it more than one.
Right.
Instead of being so narrow, let's open it so we can use it, more
So it's a
generally.
good investment and gives us the right strategic, whatever she calls
I don't
strategic
disagree.
planning.
My timing is my concern. Procedurally, would it be appropriate to approve the contract with an additional language, or would you rather come back and revisit it once we have additional language?
Well, I think their language is pretty vague. I mean, they're not saying exactly what they're gonna do, who they're gonna target. I don't know if amending it would be,
The only problem with amending it, if she may change the scope, so she might wanna undo some of the other things, that it is limited to 29K.
Right, and I think what we are asking is to increase the scope,
Yeah,
to
or
increase.
prioritize it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you think that's something we could do once, if she's hired, once we
No.
hire her and explain her what we want?
We
Or
already-
is she just gonna be on her own?
no change, amendment, or modification of any provision of the agreement will be valid unless set forth in the written instrument signed by both parties.
Gosh, I read that statement so many times. So of course, both sides can agree to change anything at any time.
Well.
But
both
that's what
sides
that
could.
says,
That
it just
doesn't mean
says,
she
we can
will.
change it, but we both gotta agree.
And I absolutely agree with that comment.
We can be all about changing it. She doesn't have to agree, and then obviously it won't be changed because
If we
one of the
agree.
parties wouldn't agree. So,
I agree.
I don't know.
What do you do, Robert's rules wise here? I can get a hold of her and tell her what we got in mind and come back.
We could postpone action on this. Pardon?
We're gonna meet tomorrow again if that's.
Yeah,
that's
then
soon enough.
if we don't
Depends on where she is.
deal with it by tomorrow, then obviously we're gonna be
2 weeks.
way into this contract before we even sign it.
I
So
wonder,
I'd
well, I'll
say-
ask her at the same time, what's the impact of that? Slipping it and starting it at a different date? Why is it gotta be now?
Yeah. Well, because I think that was
That's why I asked.
a concern with, and we all got the email about dates. We're gonna have some conflicts. They don't put any times on these, but certainly October 3rd, we will be in a Board of Commissioners meeting. October 2nd, we will be in a BOCC meeting. The 9th, we will be in budget hearings. So I know for sure there's at least 3 days I would not be available, and I don't believe either any of us will be available.
And you know, if you look at this schedule, she's finishing it by the 9th. We need to understand, is that the deadline that the Ready Grant guys had? If so, fine. She can compress this. I mean, you know, she's interviewing only a few people. I don't know why. That's something I'll ask her if we table this. And if not, slip the whole thing a week or two, whatever, you know, if it's possible.
Yeah, and there may need to be some communication with Charles Vogel with the Economic Development Company, as well.
Because he's-
You would be willing to pursue
I'll
that?
do that.
I think we're probably okay to postpone this until tomorrow.
I'm fine with that.
Motion to that effect.
I'll move that we postpone, the approval of the contract, for services till, tomorrow, May 5th, and I'll withdraw my motion to approve it today.
Thank you, sir. Motion's withdrawn. I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to postpone approval of the S. Brand Strategic Planning Consultant Agreement until September the 5th. Discussion? Actually, I'm sorry, it's not debatable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay.
Can you run down a
Motion
number for us,
carries.
Brenda?
It's
for
at the bottom of the,
Cheryl Trent?
see the tiny little.
Oh, it's on
down
the,
at the bottom?
oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay, so we will just
Tom
hold
will
on
miss.
to, we will hold on to those until tomorrow and we'll see what transpires. That's okay? Thank you. Further items of new business, gentlemen? I think we're probably okay with our 24-hour notice. It really doesn't apply to a postponed item anyway, but, if we can reprint.
Yeah, there's no
the
conflict, there wasn't any conflict when you asked for it originally.
Yeah, so, good. Public comment? Okay. Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned.